Junaidi lives in East Kalimantan, Indonesia, with his parents, who work as motorcycle mechanics from their home. Currently, Junaidi is 17 years old and is in the second year at a vocational school there. Outside of school, he often spends time with his friends who also have a passion for motorcycles. They frequently gather to create video content, which is still typical for kids his age. However, a concerning habit of Junaidi is that he often hangs out with his friends while consuming alcoholic beverages. Additionally, Junaidi has feelings for a girl named Rizna, who is only 15 years old. Rizna is his neighbor, living about 10 meters from his house. She resides with her parents and two younger siblings, aged 10 years and 2.5 years. Rizna's family is known for being kind and has never caused any trouble with their neighbors. Rizna's father often comes home late due to work, while Rizna keeps busy with school and playing with her friends, just like typical middle school teenagers. Rizna's parents are aware that Junaidi likes their daughter, but due to Junaidi's poor reputation in the eyes of the community, they are concerned and have asked Rizna not to get too close to him. Moreover, they believe that as students, it is not the right time for them to have a serious relationship. According to various sources, it is said that Junaidi and Rizna were once close, and some even claim they had a secret relationship. However, their relationship was limited to chatting, as Rizna's parents did not permit her to date. Due to Junaidi's bad habits, which are known to Rizna and her family, she gradually distanced herself from him and ended their relationship. Junaidi felt rejected and realized that Rizna's parents were the ones preventing their closeness, which frustrated him. After some time, Junaidi had a dispute with Rizna's family over a pet chicken that was causing trouble, but that issue was resolved quickly. In fact, their relationship improved again when Rizna's father borrowed a helmet from Junaidi. However, after 3 days without the helmet being returned, Junaidi began to feel annoyed again. His frustration increased when he learned that Rizna was now in a relationship with another man. This made Junaidi question why Rizna's parents forbade him from dating her, but allowed her to date someone else. His annoyance reached its peak when, at the same time, his phone broke, and he had no money to repair it, leaving him increasingly confused about how to find a way to earn money. Eventually, after several days of confusion regarding his broken phone, he began to consider taking reckless actions. On February 5th, 2024, which was a Monday night, Junaidi hung out with his friends not far from his home. There, he drank alcohol and vented to his friends about how he was feeling overwhelmed because his phone was broken and he couldn't fix it due to a lack of money. After hanging out, at exactly 11 p.m., they dispersed and went home. When Junaidi arrived home, he became increasingly troubled by thoughts of his broken phone. Finally, he started to contemplate committing an unseemly act against Rizna's family that night. After deciding on his plan, Junaidi took a machete from his house and left without his family, who were already asleep, noticing. At that time, the atmosphere was very quiet, as it was the middle of the night. He walked toward Rizna's house, where Rizna was sleeping in her room, along with her mother and two younger siblings, who were sleeping in their mother's room, while Rizna's father was still at work. Upon arriving at Rizna's house, Junaidi turned off the electricity, plunging the house into darkness. He entered by stealthily slipping through a window. Just as he managed to get inside, he suddenly heard a noise outside the house. When he peeked, he saw that it was Rizna's father coming home from work. Junaidi prepared to wait for him to enter. As soon as Rizna's father came inside, Junaidi attacked him with the machete, causing him to fall. Despite being injured, Rizna's father still tried to crawl to call for help. The commotion woke Rizna's mother, who immediately came out of her room. Shocked by what was happening, she rushed to her husband. However, Junaidi acted again, attacking Rizna's mother until she fell and became motionless. After that, Junaidi entered Rizna's mother's room and saw Rizna's two younger siblings still asleep. In a brutal manner, he eliminated them one by one. However, he did not find Rizna in that room, so he moved to another room where Rizna was sleeping. Without hesitation, he also took Rizna's life. After ensuring that everyone in the house was incapacitated, Junaidi returned to the living room and saw Rizna's father still moving, albeit very weak. He then ensured that Rizna's father was no longer breathing. After that, Junaidi committed indecent acts against Rizna's defenseless mother near the door of her room. Afterward, he did the same to Rizna's body until he felt satisfied. Then, Junaidi searched the house and found cash amounting to 363,000 rupiah and took 3 mobile phones, Rizna's, her father's, and her mother's. After feeling that he was done, Junaidi cleaned the machete and his body of any traces of dirt, then went to the river to dispose of the 3 damaged phones to erase any traces of him. After that, he returned home. Once everything was settled, Junaidi woke his older brother, who was sleeping soundly. Pretending to panic, he reported to his brother that Rizna's house had just been robbed. He then urged his brother to report the incident to the neighborhood leader. The neighborhood leader, who had been forced to wake up by their arrival, was also shocked to hear Junaidi's report about the robbery at Rizna's house. They quickly headed to Rizna's home. Upon arriving there, the neighborhood leader immediately reported the incident to the police. Before long, the police arrived and began inspecting Rizna's house. Everyone was shocked to discover the lifeless bodies of Rizna's father and mother lying on the floor. When the police examined the rooms, they found Rizna's 2 younger siblings also lifeless in their beds. Finally, Rizna's body was discovered in another room, also in the same condition. As the community learned what had happened, the atmosphere around Rizna's house became lively, and the situation quickly turned chaotic. The police immediately sought to investigate what had actually occurred. Initially, they suspected that this incident was purely a robbery due to the house being in disarray, as if it had been ransacked, and the family's mobile phones were missing, presumably taken by the perpetrator. However, since the first report came from Junaidi, the police questioned him directly. At first, Junaidi was considered a witness. In his statement to the police, Junaidi explained that around 11:30 p.m., after returning from hanging out with his friends, he had heard screams coming from Rizna's house. Out of curiosity, he approached and was suddenly confronted by robbers who were committing the act in Rizna's home. Junaidi claimed that there were 10 robbers, and he saw 3 of them attacking all the members of Rizna's family with sharp weapons. He asserted that he tried to intervene but failed and managed to escape from the situation, then went home to report the incident to his brother. Junaidi's confession was delivered calmly, and initially, the villagers who heard it believed him. However, the police began to sense inconsistencies in his story. According to the police, it seemed implausible that Junaidi could escape unscathed from 10 robbers while Rizna's family met a tragic fate. Additionally, it was odd that such a large group of robbers would only target one household. The police also felt Junaidi's account was overly dramatic, as if it were a fabrication. To make matters worse, they detected the smell of alcohol on Junaidi's breath while he was giving his statement. Due to these suspicions, the police began to dig deeper into Junaidi's information. However, because his confession seemed contrived, the more they probed, the more inconsistent his answers became. The police noticed Junaidi growing increasingly nervous, especially as his responses began to vary. Their suspicions intensified, and the police decided to search Junaidi's house. Early in the morning, they found blood-stained clothes that had been soaked in Junaidi's home. Junaidi's friends also confirmed that the clothes belonged to Junaidi and were the ones he wore while hanging out the previous night, not what he was wearing at that moment. With this evidence, Junaidi was promptly taken to the police station for further questioning. At the station, Junaidi appeared even more nervous, even feigning illness despite having seemed healthy before. However, lies cannot hold up for long, and eventually, Junaidi confessed to everything. He admitted that he was the perpetrator of the incident at Rizna's house. He explained that he committed all of these acts against Rizna's family for various reasons, ranging from resentment because Rizna's parents disapproved of his relationship with her to being upset about the helmet borrowed by Rizna's father not being returned for 3 days. He even expressed frustration over issues related to a pet chicken. On the same day, specifically in the evening of February 6th, 2024, Rizna and her family were buried in a single grave at the village cemetery. The funeral was attended by many villagers who expressed their condolences for the tragic event that befell Rizna's family. This incident shocked the entire local community and even went viral across Indonesia. After the incident, many residents demanded that Junaidi's family, still living in the village, move away immediately. Ultimately, Junaidy's family home and their motorcycle repair business were demolished, and they agreed to relocate to alleviate the trauma for the victim's family and the villagers. All of this occurred over a minor issue, but his family, who knew nothing about it, also suffered the consequences. Junaidy now faces severe penalties, including life imprisonment or the death penalty for committing a premeditated crime. However, some speculate that the punishment may not be as harsh due to Junaidy's age of 17, which classifies him as a minor. It is likely that his sentence will be adjusted according to regulations for minors, potentially resulting in a maximum of just 10 years in prison. What are your thoughts on this case? What lessons can be learned? Write your answers in the comments, subscribe, and see you for the next case tomorrow at 9 a.m.